Now say, in addition to editing a reaction, we want to make a new reaction. And it's not common these days that we need to make new reactions, and it's even less common that you'll need to make new reactions because we usually have lots of things covered. But your organism may have a reasonably rare biology that we haven't touched on yet in BioCyc, and you may need to make a new, small molecule conversion. And of course you can do that. You can make new reactions. So imagine for a moment that the next step in lysine biosynthesis, the conversion of L-aspartyl-4-phosphate to L-aspartate semialdehyde, did not exist. Just didn't exist, so we don't have that reaction. We need to make that, so we're going to go up to reaction, and we're going to click reaction, new, and we get the same reaction editor that you saw before, just with nothing loaded into it. Now this is where we get to use this handy feature, the quick entry of equation. And that's where we're just going to type in the reaction equation as we know it. And you don't have to do it this way. You could also go down here and search and add the individual components one at a time, which may be more convenient in cases where it's possibly hard to type out the name. Okay, but let's go with the typing because it's just such a handy thing to be able to do. So there's our L-aspartyl-4-phosphate plus our NADPH equals, and the equals is how you split the two sides of the reaction. L-aspartate semialdehyde. And here is where NADP plus goes, but I'm going to leave that out for the moment. I'm going to actually put this in incorrectly. So there should be an NADP plus on the end, our dehydrogenated NADPH. We'll let that go away. And I just click clear. And we have L-aspartyl-4-phosphate, L-aspartate semialdehyde, NADPH. Boom, it just arrayed it for us. It's very handy that way. And again, the warning, hey, your mass balance is off. You have screwed up. And so this lets us know, hey, I forgot something. All right, the NADP plus. So let's solve that. Let's click on Add New Substrate. Move down here. So now this empty box is what we're going to try to fill with the substrate addition point down here. So I do a substring search on NADP+. I can do an exact search too. Boom. And I come up with answers. So, yep, that's NADP+. Scroll to the right and select it. Sounds good to me. And so in selecting NADP+, the navigator window has moved to the compound I just selected. It's a little quick check to say, you did mean this, right? And the editor is still open. There you go. There's the editor. We have our NADP+ down here. It's been added up there. Now it's telling me that it's much happier with my mass balance. So I'm happy with what I have in here. I click OK, and it says, hey, wait a minute, this reaction already exists. And this is the other handy thing. This will keep you, well, it doesn't keep you from doing the initial extra work, but it'll keep you from making really unhelpful duplicate reactions. This says this may well be a duplicate of a reaction that's already there. And it gives you some options, which include just getting rid of the thing you were just working on, keeping the reaction that you're editing as a duplicate, or importing the reaction from BioCyc. Now this is the clever part, because say you look through BioCyc and somehow you missed a reaction that was already in there, and you decided, oh, I've got to put this reaction in myself. You do that, you get here and it says, hey, this reaction exists in BioCyc. Would you like to import it? Then you can say, why, yes, yes, I would. And you get whatever curation we might have done with that reaction. Probably not a lot, but it also means you can then look at BioCyc and say, wow, did I miss a pathway there? Did I miss something important? For now, though, we're just going to choose delete and not have a duplicate reaction. So that's the basics of editing and generating a reaction. It's very straightforward. The one additional detail that we might want to talk about comes in making compounds, and compounds can be automatically generated if you type them into a reaction and they don't exist yet. Now we're on a compound frame here. I can always make a new compound. When I make a new compound, there's not going to be a lot of information loaded in. There's going to be almost nothing, in fact. So let me right click here, open the editor, open the compound editor. So you have the option for a bunch of names. You can have a summary. We almost never do. And some ligand values, Cas number. Very little going on there, right? Let's right click again, edit, compound structure editors. So we primarily use the Marvin compound structure editor. Our documentation tells you how to get this installed in your system locally. It doesn't come as part of the Pathway Tools distribution. But basically, when you make a new compound, it's going to be a two-step process, and it's going to look like this. Compound, new, compound name, our special compound, also known as OSC, and there's not a lot to put in here, and we go OK. And it tells you, oh, we're going to decapitalize that because that's standard. And you say, yeah, that's fine by me. So what you see here is very little information available for the compound. So what you're going to want to do is right-click, edit, open up one of the compound structure editors, and then save that once you're done back into the frame. And what will happen then is, let's back up to one of the real frames here, is you'll get a neat structure like this. You'll get the empirical formula based off of your structure, and you'll get a molecular weight calculated from your structure, and a SMILES code also taken from your structure. Handy. And then all of these other things that appear on a compound page, like which pathways it's involved in, that kind of thing, you don't have to input that manually, of course. That's just generated for the page based on the database looking at what pathways that compound is involved in. So now we have you set up to be able to edit and make reactions and to make and edit compounds as necessary. In the next step, we're going to move on and look at proteins, including how to link proteins to reactions and when you might need to move one of those links around. So I'll see you back in the next video portion.